Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I believe you can hear me.
Good afternoon, madam.
Yes, I only see two people coming to the session. I wonder whether what happened to others.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, Puta. How about the others?
Let me check.
Yes, do we need to wait another 5 minutes?
Okay, madam. I'll call them.
Yes, because otherwise they will miss the first sessions. I will wait another 5 minutes. Then I will start the session.
Okay, madam.
Okay, Buddha. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Let's we start. Then others, if they need, they will join with the session. And good afternoon, everyone. Again, today I'm going to do my last session with you regarding the data analysis. And I'm planning to show you the steps following how you are going to conduct your quantitative data analysis. And I believe that therefore after you are going through with the video clip, then you can easily follow the steps and you can do your data analysis by your own. And I also hope that you have installed the SPSS version, at least trial version to your laptop. So then you will getting more easiness to follow in my steps. Okay, so you can ask the question if you need any more clarification once I'm continue the session. Right. So last time I show you how to do the data entering and do your pilot survey analysis also. Right. Then I believe that you understand that step right now. And once you are finishing your pilot survey test and adjusting your questionnaire, if you need any amendments, then you are going for the main data collection. That means your final data collection. It depends on the number of sample you have, right? Maybe 100, maybe 500. It's depend on your research question as well as your population. Right. So once you finish with your pilot survey and amendment, then you collect your data. Then again, you need to enter the data into the SPSS sheet, or you can directly take it from your Google form sheet, like the Excel sheet, right? Now I will show you this example. This is one, actually this is another same example I used to conduct your pilot survey analysis. And now today I'm going to show you the step by step how to do your main quantitative analysis. So as a first step, first of all, you need to know about your sample. That means you need to give clear picture to your reader or your examiner. These are the characteristics including in my sample. Okay. So therefore, first of all, we need to do sample profile. We need to conduct sample profile. Either you can do it in a table wise, or if you prefer with the graph, you can go with the graph. But my personal consent is you need for the professional document. It is better to go with tables rather than going with the paragraph, rather than going with the charts, like pie charts or bar charts, right? But I will show you how to do it. Whatever you prefer, you can do. Right. Now in my questionnaire, I have few questions to identify my sample profile. Now for an example, I want to know about my respondents' gender and their age and their income level, as well as in this case the number of insurance they have. So this is a data set I am collecting to based on how celebrity attractiveness, their trustworthiness, as well as their attributes or their expertise influence to the purchase intention of insurance, life insurance in Sri Lanka. Okay, so therefore I'm collecting the information regarding respondents' gender, their age, as well as their income level, and the number of insurance they have. So these 4 items are my sample profile. Now in your report, under your findings chapter, or I don't know what is the chapter in your case, normally it is chapter 4. So under the chapter 4, first of all, you need to explain your sample profile. Okay, So how to do is the same as I mentioned you last time to check your errors. So to check the sample profile, you can go with analyze. Okay, under that you can see the descriptive statistic. So first of all, we can go with the frequencies. Okay, you can go with the frequencies. Then now you can see another table open. So in here you can take the items or variables that you need to know about your sample or the characteristic of your sample. Then you can select those items and take it into the right hand side box. Okay, so then you can enter OK. Right. So now you can see I told you that the SPSS, the output sheet coming into the separate window. So now you can see output. In the frequency table, you can see how many males and females representing your sample and what are the age categories representing your sample and the income level of your sample profile, and finally the number of insurance they have according to my my study. Okay, so then you can get those tables, just highlight it, then you can right click and copy it, and then you can take it into the Word document, right? Then table by table or at once you can explain briefly what is your sample characteristic. For an example, you can say 150 questionnaires were collected. Among these 150, 45% representing male and 55% representing female. So for another example, like age, excuse, like age, you can say majority of the sample representing the age between 30 to 45, like that, like this. Now it's representing 66. So likewise, you can explain your sample profile in very brief manner, right? Not in detailed content. It gives your reader that your sample representing different characteristics, right? Now income level also different characteristic, different levels it representing, and then age level also different level it representing. So that your sample shows, your sample indicate the rich picture from your population. Okay, so that's why normally under the finding section we started from sample profile. Okay, so this is the way you can take sample profile in first shot. Or else, if you prefer to draw graph, draw paragraph or something, so in here you can go with graph. Okay, you can go with graph and then the legacy dialogues. Okay, now you can see if you like to bar or 3D bar, line, areas, whatever you like to draw in, you can say. Now for an example, I am using bar chart. Okay, and the bar chart also you can take simple bar chart or cluster bar chart or stack bar chart. So I'm going with the cluster and I will show you two variables in one table. Okay, so summarize groups of cases, it need to be highlighted in here, then you can define. Okay, so in here you can select the variables you need to representing in your bar. So I'm using age and gender in here. You can select whatever the category access in here, right? Then just click OK. Now you can see this kind of bar chart you will see. So gender wise male, it representing two age levels, right? Now frame on male, you can say majority of the male representing 30 to 45. Even it is same for the female, but the female representing both age levels like 30 to 45 as well as 46 to 60. So whatever the presenting manner you can select, whether you are going with tables like this or going with charts, right? Now in here chart I'm representing two things like age and gender. Even table also you can do the same, right? That two variables presenting in one table. We call it as a cross tabulation, right? We call it as a cross tabulation. So that cross tabulation also you can do, right? Now for an example, you can go with analyze. Again descriptive statistic, right? Under the descriptive statistic, you can see the fourth icon. It's called cross tabs. Okay, just click cross tab. Now you can see the things I'm putting in here. Okay, I'm using the same thing for this. Okay, I select age as my row axis and income as my column axis. So it depends on you how you want to present your data, right? So then you can click OK. Here you can see the same result. Now the same graph representing in table in here, right? So based on the age level, your income category defined, right? And I'm sorry, this one is gender, but I'm taking income and age. No worry, the same thing you can do. Okay, you can take age and here gender, the same thing, right? Male and female. Likewise, you can do the things whatever you need to present as your sample profile, right? Either you can go with table or you can go with graph. Okay, so these are the first way you need to represent, you need to explain about your sample profile. Now we are going to the second stage, okay, most important stage in your questionnaire for the reliability and validity test. Now please remember, reliability and validity tests are applicable if you are using scale type questions. Okay, I'm repeating again. Validity and reliability tests are applicable if you are using scale type question. That means 5-point Likert scale, 7-point Likert scale, or 9-point Likert scale, as you wish. Okay, those kind of Likert scale questions in your variable. If you have that kind of Likert scale questions in your variable, then you need to run validity and reliability test. Okay, now let me go back to my data set again. Now in this data set, I told you that I am testing how celebrity attractiveness, their trustworthiness, as well as their expertise influence on purchase intention of insurance product in Sri Lanka. Okay, so according to my study, I have 3 independent variables. One is celebrity attractiveness, second one trustworthiness, and third one expertise. And my dependent variable is purchase intention. Now all the variables, that mean dependent and independent variables, are measuring using 5-point Likert scale. Now you can see in here, so expertise and everything, I am measuring 5-point Likert scale measurement items. Okay, so therefore I need to test validity and reliability. Now in your case, if you have categorical items in your dependent and independent variables, please remember that you don't need to run validity and reliability. Okay, so validity and reliability only applicable for the items you are using to measure based on Likert scale measurement types. Okay, so now I show you how to do your validity and reliability test. Now reliability test I have already done with you with pilot study, but in here I will show you how to do it again. Okay, again go to analyze, and you can see the icon called scale, right? It expanded with the reliability analysis. Okay, analyze, scale, and then reliability analysis. Okay, reset it again. Then you can see my first independent variable, I have 5 measurement items. Okay, so that 5 measurement items I put it into the next box. You can see in your right hand side. Now under the pilot study test, I select all these items in your pilot test. Okay, but for the main test we don't need to check all these again, right? Only just enter the items you want to check the variable reliability, then just click OK. Okay, so in here you can only see the reliability statistic. So Cambridge alpha value 0.824. Okay, the standard is Cambridge alpha value need to be more than 0.7. So then my first independent variable measurement items are reliable. Okay, likewise you can do all the reliability tests for all other items. I will do the second one also, right? I will check the third one. Okay, I want to show you something in here. So my third independent variable is celebrity expertise. So there are 6 items in that variable. Okay, so I select those 6 items, then I just click OK. Now you can see Chrome badge alpha value is 0.673. So now it is less than 0.7. Okay, now it is less than 0.7, but it close to 0.7. Okay, if you round it up, it's close to 0.7. So I will keep it up until I am checking validity. Okay, now my second step in your data analysis is you need to run you need to test reliability analysis. So how you do it? Go to analyze, go to scale, then reliability analysis, then select your measurement items according to your variable, and then click OK. Okay, so that is the meaning of reliability test. Then once you are recording your reliability test in your final report, so you can prepare a table. So one column you can write your variables, and then in the other column you can write the Chrome badge alpha value. Okay, I will share with you the data analysis result write up. Then you can go through it and find out how to write your findings chapter. Okay, so then the second stage is check the reliability analysis. The third and most important analysis in your data is factor analysis. Now remember, first we check sample profile, secondly we check reliability analysis, and now we are going to check your factor analysis that is coming under your validity test. Okay, so factor analysis is one method we are using to ensure your measurement items are valid. Now let's see how to do your validity analysis. Okay, go to analyze. Then you can see the icon called dimension reduction. Okay, analyze. In here you can see dimension reduction. Then under the dimension reduction, the first command called factor. Okay, then we select factor. Right? So under the factor, similar to the reliability analysis, first select the items coming under your one variable that you want to check the validity. Okay, so my first independent variable is celebrity attractiveness, and I have 5 measurement items. So I select those 5 items. Then under this table, now you can see first command we call descriptives. Okay, just click that first command descriptive. Under the descriptive table or descriptive command, you can see the initial solution automatically select. Okay, so in here you need to select another item we call KMON Bartle test of sphericity. Okay, now in this box you need to select 2 things. Initial solution already selected, and then the last one you need to select KMON Bartle test. Okay, then click continue, right, and then just click OK. Right, now this is we call factor analysis. Now this is the result of factor analysis of my first independent variable, that is celebrity attractiveness, including 5 measurement items. Now please listen very
Sorry to
carefully.
interrupt, madam.
Yes.
Excuse me, madam.
Yeah.
I can't see your result thing. Only the data sheet can view.
Yes, sorry. Yes, extremely sorry. Can you see it now?
The previous thing also we couldn't see that.
My goodness. Reliability one?
Yes, we couldn't see that.
All right. I will show you. I will repeat it to you again. But did you
Thank
see
you,
the
madam.
sample profile? Tables and graph?
Yes.
All right. Now, I'm repeating again the reliability test. I'm really sorry. For the reliability, I told you that my first variable is trustworthiness. Okay, sorry, attractiveness. So I want to make sure that 5 items measuring that attractiveness variable are reliable. How can I do so? Go to analyze, then scale, and then go to the reliability analysis. Okay, I reset it again. Then select your variables into the right hand side box. Without going any more actions or any more steps, just click OK. Right? Then you can see the reliability statistic of my first independent variable it scores 0.824. That means it is more than 0.7. The condition is your Cambridge alpha value need to be higher than 0.7. Okay, it needs to be higher than 0.7. Let me have another thing to show you. Okay, I am selecting my third independent variable in here, expertise, celebrity expertise, and then I am showing you the Cambridge alpha value. Now it is 0.673. Okay, it's close to 7. Okay, it's close to 7, but it is less than 0.7. Right? I'm not going to adjust anything in here right now because I want to show you based on the validity test. Right? Now I repeat it again. In here, I'm checking the reliability of your measurement items. Okay. My third step, I'm going to check with you the validity test. Okay. Now you are going to testing validity. And the validity testing, first of all, we need to do the factor analysis. Okay. So I will show you how to do the factor analysis, and then I will interpret you the result based on some standard values. I am doing it again. Go with analyze. Now I'm testing the validity. Okay, go to analyze, then dimension reduction. Then you can see there is a command called factor. Okay, command called factor. Right. Then similar to reliability analysis, just select the items you want to check the validity under your variable. Now my first independent variable is celebrity attractiveness, and it contains with 5 measurement items which are measuring using 5-point Likert scale. Then I am selecting those 5 items here. Then go to the descriptive command in your right hand side. Right? Just click descriptive command. Now you can see under the statistics, initial solution already highlighted or already select. Right? So under the correlation matrix command, you need to just click KMO and Bartle test. Right? So under this factor analysis descriptive box, there are 2 selections. One is initial solution and then KMO and Bartle test. Then just continue and click OK. Right? Now this is your validity test result. This is coming under the factor analysis. Now please listen very carefully. These are very important standards you need to know. Okay. Now factor analysis, first table representing KMO and Bartle test. Now KMO and Bartle test is used to specify that your sample size is adequate to measure your variables. I'm telling again, the KMO and Bartle test result indicate to you that your sample size is adequate to check your hypothesis or test your model or this specific variable, right? So under the KMO table, first standard is, right? I prefer you can write it down in very clearly. The first standard is, you can see this KMO and Mayer marking measurement. Where's the pen? Okay, now in here you can see Kayser-Mayer-Oakland measurement sample adequacy. You can see this one, the highlighting points, right? Now please remember this value should be greater than 0.5. This value should be greater than 0.5. Right? We normally call KMO value. So that KMO value need to be greater than 0.5. So under this method, it is 0.835. So it is greater than 0.5. Then we can say this variable measurement items are more than enough to adequate your sample. Okay? Or we can say this KMO and Bartle test result specify that your sample size is enough to check this variable validity. Right? The standard is the KMO value, that is Kayser-Mayer-Oakland, that is meaning of KMO value. It should be greater than 0.5. Right? And the other thing is, it should be significant. That means Bartlett test should be significant. So significant mean the sig value. Now remember this, right? The SPSS always give this p value as sig value. Now I believe that you are familiarized with some kind of statistic, right? So under the statistic we normally call p value should be less than 0.05, right? So normally p value should be less than 0.05. So sig value equal to your p value. Now this is we call SPSS called sig value mean, under the statistic it is p value. Okay, so that p value, if that p value is less than 0.05, then we call your Bartlett test of Shapiro is significant. That means don't worry about the techniques, right? If KMO value is greater than 0.5 and sig value is less than 0.05, okay, KMO value greater than 0.5, that means 50%, okay, and your p value or your sig value is less than 0.05, right? If these two conditions met, then we see your sample adequacy has been met. Okay, that is the first condition. What are the first condition? KMO value should be greater than 0.5 and its sig value should be less than 0.05. Okay, then we are going to the third table. We don't need to worry about this cumulatives. Okay, the second, your attention need to be pay on your third table. It's titled as total variance explained. Now this total variance explained mean, since I have 5 measurement items to measure my first independent variable, that is celebrity attractiveness. So total variance explain show you that how far that 5 measurement items going to be explain the variance of your variable. So in this case, I have 5 measurement items for the celebrity attractiveness. So I am going to make sure that what is the extent of changes in my independent variable represented by the 5 measurement variables. Okay, so in here you can see the last column cumulatives, right? Last column cumulatives, it gives the values called 58.6%, right? Normally it indicates that 5 measurement items that we are going to measure your first independent variables. So variance of your variables 58%, more than 58% representing your selected 5 items. I'm telling again, the variance of your independent variable, that is my celebrity expertise or celebrity attractiveness, 58% of the variance represented by your selected 5 item. Okay, then third condition in the fact analysis, I told you about KMO and significant value. Now third condition is this total variance explanation value, that means your last column value should be more than 50%. It should be greater than 50%. Okay, it should be greater than 50%. Okay, now why it is 50%? Because the variation of your independent variable, 50% of the variation represented by your selected measurement items. If it is less than 50%, that indicate your measurement items are not valid. Okay, that's the third standard value. That is the third standard value. Then the last one, we come into with the component matrix. The component matrix mean, since I have 5 measurement items now, right? I want to make sure that those 5 measurement items are measuring what I want to measure. That is actually meaning of validity, right? Validity mean actually we are going to make sure that our measurement items are measuring what we want to measure, right? Now I have 5 measurement items under my celebrity attractiveness variable. Now I want to make sure that whether these 5 items are measuring the celebrity attractiveness itself. Now under the component matrix table, the last table of the factor analysis, if it is coming under the one column, if your 5 items are coming under the one column, then I can clearly say that my 5 measurement items coming under the celebrity attractiveness are valid. Why? Because this gives you the signal that it is coming under the one component. So these 5 items are measuring only the celebrity attractiveness itself. Okay, I believe that you are I'm communicating with you very clearly, right? I will show you the second variable and let you know how these things are changing. But I'm summarizing again the validity test. Under the validity test, we are conducting factor analysis. Okay, that is analyze, then go with the dimension reduction factor, and we are selecting the variables and we run the model. Okay, so under the factor analysis, first standard is your KMO value should be greater than 0.5 and its significant value should be less than 0.05, and in the total variance explanation, cumulative value should be greater than 50%, and finally under the component matrix, all the measurement items need to be coming under one component. Okay, then let me have to do the same thing again with another variable, right? I'm going with this step again, analyze, dimension reduction, again go with the factor, then I just remove this item. Now I'm taking my third independent variable, which we did not get the reliability analysis results properly, right? There are 6 measurement items. I just click it, then descriptive one already set, then continue. Once you select one command, until you reset, it's remaining as it is. Okay, then I'm selecting OK. Now in here you can see KMO value greater than 0.5, significant value less than 0.05. Now in here, now you can see total variance explanation, explain table. Now there are 2 components representing. Okay, that means you have 6 measurement items. Now under the 6 measurement items, some of the items representing 48% and another sum of the item representing 65%. Now if you receive this kind of result in your validity analysis, that indicate your measurement items are not valid. I'm repeating again. If you are getting 2 rows in your total variance explain table, that indicate your measurement items are not valid. Now the question is, which items are not valid under your variable? Okay, now we have a question, which items are not valid under my 6 measurement items? The answer you will get from the component matrix. Now previous one, under the component matrix, you can see only one column. That means your 5 items are coming under one component. But in this third variable, in my case, now I have 2 components. So if you are getting 2 components, mean your 6 measurement items are not measuring one variable, but it measuring 2 variables. That means you are asking 6 questions, but those 6 questions are not measuring one variable, right? So now we have a question, which measurement items are not suit with these other items, right? How we know the item mean, now you can see here under the component 1, okay? Now you can see here under the component 1, right? All these 5 items, okay? All these 5 items are loaded into one factor with high value, right? I believe that you understand me, okay? All these 5 factors are loaded with or represent with high values in component number 1. But if you see the component number 2 with the same item, all are negatives and low values. But if you pay your attention to the item number 6 under my expertise variable, it's only loaded to item component number 2. So that indicate your measurement item number 6 is not valid for the variable called expertise, right? That give you the sign that you need to remove that item from your data sheet. You need to remove it, right? That means this expertise number 6 item or measurement number item number 6 coming under the expertise variable is not valid for your expertise variable, right? Then what we can do is, okay, we run the analysis again, removing that number 6 item. Now I am removing this item. Okay, just remove mean you just select it and it will remove it to your left hand side box, right? Then again you can run the model, run this factor analysis, right? Now you can see KMO value greater than 0.5, significant value less than 0.05, and in here now total variance explained more than 58%, and component matrix now coming under the one component. That means, yes.
In this case, you have 6 variables.
Sorry?
In this case, you have 6 variables to check.
Yes, previously I have 6 variables.
Also, if you are removing one,
yes,
meaning the questionnaire also has to change, or we can remove it from this stage.
Yes, now you have already collect the data, Putan. Collect the data.
Yeah,
now.
that's right.
Right? The final data collection now you are in. Right?
Okay.
But your item number 6 is not suit.
Okay.
Okay, that means your respondents cannot understand or whatever. Right? So then we have to remove it for the further analysis. Completely remove it.
Okay.
Okay? So that's the way we are measuring the validity. Am I clear to you all? I believe it, right?
Yes.
Now,
yes.
now likewise, whatever variable you have, how many independent or dependent, and it measure with the measurement Likert scale 5.0, 7.0, 9 point, you need to first check reliability, and the standard value is Cambridge alpha value need to be more than 0.7, right? But some cases you might get Cambridge alpha value less than 0.7, like my third variable, right? Therefore, don't rush into worry about your reliability. Then you can check the factor analysis again, right? Once you are checking the factor analysis and see whether all the standard met, right? Then you don't need to worry about your Cambridge alpha value if it is less than 0.7. But normally, in practically, if Cambridge alpha value is less than 0.7, for an example, it might be 6.7, 6.8. But if it is get 0.4, 0.5, that means once you are performing factor analysis, definitely 1, 2 measurement items you need to remove. That is a practice, right? Therefore, don't worry about once you are getting Cambridge alpha value less than 7 at first shot. Keep it aside and then run the factor analysis, right? Then you can see once you remove the non-validated item from your measurement items, then you can again run the Cambridge alpha value. Then you can see the standard items are met. Okay. Now these are preliminary analysis in your data analysis. Okay, first you check the sample profile and you just draw the sample profile, and then you check the reliability and you check the validity. Okay, those are we call measurement of goodness, right? In statistically we call measurement of goodness, right? So under that you are measuring reliability and validity. Now in my case, I have to remove one item from my third variable, right? Or I believe that other things are okay, right? Likewise, you first of all check the validity and reliability. That is my third steps. Now I'm going to do with you this fourth step. Okay, now that the fourth step indicate we are going to calculate mean values. Okay, we are going to calculate mean values. Now I'm going back to my data sheet again. Now in here you can see under the attractiveness variable I have 5 measurement items. For the trustworthiness I have 5 measurement items. For the expertise I have 6 measurement items. Now number 6 is I'm going to remove it, right? Because it is not reliable in here, so I'm remove it. Okay, or I want to keep it in my data set, so I just take it, but you consider it as there is no item. Okay, and then purchase intention I have 5 items. Likewise, now the thing is, now we are going to calculate mean value of the variable, right? Since we have 5, 6 items in our variable, now we need to get it as a single value. We call it as mean value, right? Now the fourth step of our data analysis is now we are trying to get the average value of these 5 items in here, and in here the 5 items for the third variable. Likewise, we are going to calculate mean value. So you can see I have already calculated it, so I will show you how to do it, right? Then go with the transform. Okay, go to the transform. Now we are in the fourth step. We are trying to calculate mean values of the variable, right? We are going to transform and get the first command we call compute variable. Okay, compute variable. Now we are going to calculate mean values, right? So it is new variable in our case, so therefore we need to name it. Okay, mean 1, because I have already calculated, that's why I call it as the mean 1, right? Similar to our data entry policy, you cannot keep space in here. Okay, if you want to take it as a big name, you can type under here mean attractiveness or something, right, under the label, but it's not necessary, right? So mean 1. Now I'm going to calculate the mean value of attractiveness variable, because I have 5 measurement items. Now I am calculating average. Now you can see under the function group, right, under the function group you can select the statistical command. Okay, under the statistic one you click it, you will see that functions and special variable, there are several things appear. Then under the mean, okay, so you can get the meaning of the mean, right? Then just double click it. Just double click the mean. Now you can see it will appear into the box of numeric expression, right? I will do it again, don't worry. Go to the transform, take compute variable and give your short name here, mean 1, okay, right? Then go to the functional group in here, right? Click the statistical function, then you can see functions, several functions here. Then click mean values, okay, then double click it, then you will see the mean value in here. Okay, so under the brackets, please remove that bracket, please remove that question marks, then you can see only the brackets in here, right? So within the bracket now we need to include your measurement items, right? So you can see it in here, highlight the first measurement item, then use this arrow and then please press comma. That means it differentiates from one measurement items to other measurement item. Then select second one, you can click comma, click the arrow and then put comma. Okay, then third one, put arrow and then comma, and then fourth one, even double click, you can see it appeared into the box, then comma, and then fifth one, you can see it appear. For the last one, you don't need to put the comma because it will give you the final, it indicate that this is your final measurement item. Then just click OK. Okay, I'm going back to your sheet again. Oops, where is it? Okay, just there are some mistakes in here. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, right. In here at the end of the sheet, now you can see this is your mean value calculation. Now you can see I have already calculated in here. Now this is my mean value calculation for this 5 measurement items of attractiveness. Right? I will do it another one for your understanding. Okay, go to the transform, compute variable. Okay, just type the short name in here, mean. I'm going for the second one. I'll go to the third one because I have already removed something. Then go with the statistic under the functional group, statistical. Then you can see the mean value, mean function in here. Just double click it. Then it appear into the numeric expression, and then remove this question marks, and then go to your selected items. Okay, I'm going with the expertise variable, measurement number 1, and then click arrow, then put comma. Then I'm going with the second one, comma, third one, sorry, comma, and fourth one, comma, and then finally fifth one, because sixth one is not reliable, valid for me. Okay, then just click OK. Okay, and at the end of the sheet, you can see the mean value of my third variable. Right? Likewise, you can do the mean value calculation for the whatever the variables you have. Right? Now you can see I have already calculated mean value of my first independent variable, second independent, third independent, and this is my dependent variable. Okay? Likewise, you can do the mean value calculation. So that is our fourth step. Okay, that is our fourth step. Now, sometimes in your objective, but I am not sure what are your objectives, but sometimes in your objective, you might want to see whether those variables are differ between male and female, income level, age level, right? Whatever the characteristic of your sample, right? Now for an example, I want to make sure that the celebrity attractiveness or the person's perception on celebrity attractiveness, whether it's changed between male and female. I want to make sure that. That is my exam. That is my one of the objective. Right? I want to make sure that whether attractiveness of the celebrities going to be differ between male and female customers. Now, I want to know whether there is a difference between celebrity attractiveness in between male and female. Now, how we can do is, right, we call it as mean differences analysis. Right? So, mean differences analysis we can do several ways. Right? If I want to know the attractiveness differ with male and female, I have only two groups. One is male and other one is female. Right? If your categorical variable have only two components, like male and female, we can run independent sample t-test. Now, I believe you understand me, right? Now I want to make sure that mean attractiveness are going to be differ between male and female. Now, in my differentiation, I have only two groups, male and female. Therefore, under the mean difference calculation, I can run independent sample t-test. Right? So let's see how mean attractiveness going to be differ between male and female. Okay, go to analyze. Then you can see in the fourth command in here, compare means. That's why I call you that it is mean difference analysis. Right? Under the compare mean, you can go with independent sample t-test. Right? Go to analyze, and then the compare mean, and in here independent sample t-test. Now what is my tested variable? Now I want to make sure that whether celebrity attractiveness going to be differ between male and female. Therefore, my test variable is mean attractiveness. So you can select whatever the variables you like to have, but I will go with one by one. Okay. Then who are my group in variable? Who are my differentiation variable? First one is my gender, right? Because I have only two categories coming under the gender. So therefore, first of all, you need to define your groups in here, right? You need to define your groups. Therefore, you need to know how you define gender into your data sheet. Like one is male, 2 is female, or 0 is male, 1 is female. So that remembering part you need to have before you are going for the independent sample t-test, right? Then you need to define group. That means my first group is male, I define it as 1, and my second group is female, I define it as 2. Okay, continue, then just click OK. Okay, right now you can see the result. Right now you can see the result. Now this is the only result of independent sample t-test. Now I'm repeating again why we are running this, because my objective is to identify whether celebrity attractiveness going to be changed between male and female, right? So if you refer the mean attractiveness mean value with respect to male and female, now you can see it's very slightly changed. It's very slightly changed, but we want to make sure that this difference is statistically significant or not. That's why we are running independent sample t-test. Okay, now we want to make sure that whether celebrity attractiveness difference between male and female is statistically significant, right? How we are going to check is in here. Please refer this sig value in independent sample t-test table. You don't need to worry about any other things. Just look at this sig value coming under the sig2 tail. Now this is your p-value, right? This is your p-value. Normal under the statistic, this p-value need to be less than 0.05. Okay, if the p-value is less than 0.05, then we can only say attractiveness mean values are differ with male and female. But in this case, sig values are more than 0.05. It is 0.28382, that is greater than 0.05. So in this case, I need to conclude that the attractiveness between the difference of the attractiveness with respect to male and female are not statistically significant. That means the attractiveness perceptions are same for the male and female, right? There is no difference. Even the mean value we can see there are some difference, but it is not statistically different. Okay, how we can say it is not statistically different? Because the sig value is greater than 0.05. But if it is less than 0.05, then we can conclude that the mean difference of attractiveness, celebrity attractiveness with male and female are differ. Okay, I believe you understand me clearly. Now this is what we call independent sample t-test. Why we run independent sample t-test? Because in gender we have only two categories. In gender we have only two categories. If your variable have two categories, then you can run independent sample t-test. Right? Now for an example. Now let's go back to our data sheet. Okay. Now in here, I'm going with the other one, not the gender. Now under the age. Okay. And the age, I have several categories, more than two. I have 4 categories. Okay. Now my question is, if I want to make sure that the celebrity attractiveness are are going to be changed or going to be differ with respect to different age level. Now my next question is, my next objective is, I want to identify whether celebrity attractiveness are going to be changed with respect to different age level. Right? Now previous case we are using gender. Since we have only 2 categories under the gender, we are testing using independent sample t-test. But under the age, now you can see there are 4 categories. So if you have more than 2 categories under your variable, you cannot run independent sample t-test. In this case, we are using ANOVA testing, right? Similar to independent sample t-test, but in this case, we have more than 2 categories under your variable. Okay. Now let's see how we are going to run ANOVA testing, right? Then go to analyze, same procedure, right? Analyze, compare means, okay, compare means, then go to one-way ANOVA, okay? Analyze, compare means, one-way ANOVA. Just click it, okay, and reset it. Now I want to make sure that the attractiveness, I'm selecting the mean value attractiveness as my testing list. This is my main variable, and I want to make sure whether the attractiveness going to be changed according to the age level of my sample, right? Then under the factor in here, you can select the age, right? Not like the independent sample t-test, you don't need to define the groups in here, right? Then just click OK. Okay, just click OK, but now you can see very small table appear as ANOVA result. Now, why we are running ANOVA? Because we want to check whether attractiveness going to be differ with respect to age group. Now, since age group have more than 4 categories, we cannot run independent sample t-test. Okay, because independent sample t-test applicable only for 2 levels of categories. Right? If you have more than 2 levels, you need to go one-way ANOVA test. Right? Then this is your one-way ANOVA test. Again, you can see the sig value. You don't need to worry about any other values. Right? You can see the sig value. Right? Since sig value is less than 0.05, since your sig value is less than 0.05, because it is 0.17, it is less than 0.05, then you can say that yes, there is a difference with mean intention with respect to the age level, right? Since p-value is less than 0.05, you can conclude that there is a statistically significant difference of celebrity attractiveness with respect to the age group. Right? Now, the second thing we need to concern is if there are differences between age groups or among age groups, what are those differences? Right? Now you have a question. Now we conclude that there is a statistically significant differences of attractiveness with respect to the age group. Now we want to make sure that which age group have much attractiveness and which age group have less attractiveness. How we can do is, if only you can get the sig value less than 0.05, right? Then we are going to the one step forward, okay? For the one-way ANOVA, I'm going with again, right? Analyze, compare mean, one-way ANOVA. Now you can see the table, right? Last time we just click OK, but in this time, go to this command called post hoc. Now under the post hoc test, it gives you clear picture that which age categories have more attractiveness value and which age categories have less attractiveness value. Okay, just click post hoc, and it has several multiple choices for the post hoc, but in statistics we normally use the Turkey test, right? The Turkey test, just click Turkey in here. Right? You don't, I believe that you never forget about this word. Okay, Turkey in here. Then just continue and then click OK. So you will get the same result in here again, like this. right? Like this, you will get the same result. Now you can see sig value is less than 0.05, and then your concern need to be going with this multiple comparison table. We call it as post hoc test result. Okay, now once you are going to comparison, that's how we are going to compare. Now you are going to compare attractiveness with respect to age category of 18 to 29 with other age categories, right? So first row indicate you are going to compare, you are going to compare age category 1 with other 3 age category, then age category 2 with other 3 category, age category 3 with other 3 category, and final category with other 3 category, right? Now comparing with that, you can see that now age 1 is the attractiveness of first age level is more than second age level, because this will give you the highest value, right? Now for an example, age 18 to 29 attractiveness is more than the attractiveness of age 30 to 45, right? And then the attractiveness of age 18 to 29 is more than the attractiveness of age 46 to 60. Likewise, you can make the comparison. Okay, so that is the way you have to do with the mean comparison with regard to categorical variable which are having more than 2 levels. I believe you are understanding what I'm saying. Okay, so these are we call mean difference calculation. Now don't worry if you don't have that type of objective, right? If you don't have objective like how that your variables are differed with respect to age, with respect to different position like management level, top level management or lower level management, then you don't need to run this mean comparison. But if you are having that kind of objective, you can do the mean comparison test. Okay, so that is my fifth step in data analysis, right? Now we are coming to the last steps in data analysis, right? Now we are going for the sixth step we call correlation analysis, right? Now if you are going back to my data sheet, right? Now you can see here, my main intention is to, I want to make sure that whether attractiveness, trustworthiness, and expertise going to be influence the purchase intention of insurance customers. Okay, so that is my model. Now, before I am going to make sure that whether those 3 independent variables are influence into the dependent variable, in statistics, you need to first run correlation analysis. So correlation means the association, right? So your attractiveness might be associated with trustworthiness. Trustworthiness might be associated with expertise, right? So trustworthiness associated with purchase intention. So associates does not mean that your purchase intention going to be happen because of trustworthiness, right? Or your purchase intention going to be happen because of the attractiveness, right? Now attractiveness, trustworthiness, and expertise going to be influenced to the purchase intention is my objective, right? Before we are going to emphasize whether there are any influence, first of all we need to check whether there are any correlation, that means association among those 4 variables, right? If we are having statistically significant association, only we can run the model. That is a statistical rule. Okay, therefore as a 6th step we are going to check the correlation analysis. Once we are check it, I will let you know how we are going to interpret it, right? Then my 6th step is to run the correlation analysis. Okay, then go to analyze, right? You can easily see there is a correlation analysis, right? You can see there is a command called correlate, and the correlate we are selecting bivariate because we are taking one variable to another, 2 pairs, right? Not 3-4 pairs together, right? Then click bivariate. Now you can see there are several things, but now we only worry about your mean values. You can completely forget about all other things right now because we have already completed with our mean calculation. Now I select all the mean values in here because I want to check the association among those 4 variables in my study, right? Then just all the things are clicked it automatically. Correlation Pearson is here, two-tailed table is here. Then just click OK, right? Just click OK, and now you can see the result, I believe. Right. Now this is what we call correlation analysis. Okay. This is what we call correlation analysis. Now under the correlation, now you can see these are 1, 1, 1 matrix. That means it's correlate with itself. Therefore, we can forget about this part. Now we can completely forget about this part because it is repetitive of this site. This is same result in here, right? You can refer only one site. Right. Now in here, mean attractiveness, correlation with trustworthiness. Attractiveness, correlation with trustworthiness. What you can say? Okay, what you can see? Attractiveness associate with trustworthiness, right? Then attractiveness associate with expertise. Attractiveness associate with purchase intention. Okay, now only thing you need to know about this correlation is also this sig value. Okay, only thing you need to refer is this sig value. Now for an example, under the sig value, right? Under the sig value between attractiveness and trustworthiness, what can you see about the sig value? Is it less than or greater than 0.05? It is greater than 0.05. Right? Now, in the statistic, we are highly dealing with the standard 0.05. Right? So, since the sig value is greater than 0.05 in this case, so then we can conclude that trustworthiness and attractiveness are not statistically correlate. Okay? But remember, these are not our worries. Now, my dependent variable is purchase intention. Right? And my objective is to find out whether attractiveness, trustworthiness, and expertise going to be influenced to the purchase intention. Before we are going with the influence, we want to make sure that these four variables are correlated with each other. Therefore, your attention need to be given to this last row. Right? Last row representing your dependent variable with other 3 independent variables, right? Then look at the sig values in here, less than 0.05. With the second variable less than 0.05 and final variable also is less than 0.05. Then you can conclude that in here, the correlationship among dependent and independent variables are statistically significant. Why we call statistically significant? Because it is less than 0.05. Am I clear? Because since this last row, dependent and independent variables, sig values are less than 0.05, then you can conclude that the correlation between dependent and independent variables are statistically significant. But don't worry, if you are not getting statistically significant result, it doesn't matter. But we want to check whether there are at least one statistical significant correlation between dependent and independent variable. Right? It should have at least one. Right? If only we can go with your model testing. Right? If only we can go with your model testing. Right? Okay. Then this is the 6th step. Why I am conducting correlation analysis? Before we are going to check the influence, first of all, we need to know whether these variables are statistically associated with each other. If you have at least one association between dependent and independent variable, then only we can run your regression model. Okay. Now, in my case, in my analysis, I am going to check whether attractiveness, trustworthiness, expertise is going to be influenced to the purchase intention. So first I run the correlation and make sure that these 4 variables are statistically correlate. Now I am going to the final test that is the multiple regression analysis. Actually, that is the way you are running or you are measuring your model. Okay. Then my final stage of the data analysis, go to analyze. Then you can in here see regression analysis. Okay, regression analysis. Then I am going to regression and going with the second one, linear regression analysis, because I am assuming that there is a linear regression relationship. Okay, click the linear regression analysis. Now don't worry about the other things because now we don't need those things with items. We only worry about these 4. Right? My dependent is purchase intention. So you can select your dependent variable under the dependent column, dependent cell. Then you can select your independent variables in here. Okay? You can select independent variables in here. There are 2 ways you can run the model. First method is you can run all the 3 variables at once and see whether your model is okay or not. Or else you can run the model one by one. Like for an example, first you can run with the dependent variable with 1 independent variable. Then you can again run 1 dependent and then another independent variable. But my advice is please run all the variables at once. Right? You can run all the variables at once and see whether which variable influence to your dependent variable statistically. Right? Then select your dependent variable and your independent variables. Okay? And your independent variables. And then go to in here statistics. Okay? Go in here statistic. In here you can see already estimates and model fit are already clicked. In here you only need to click Durbin-Watson residuals. Right? You are in here, you need to click Durbin-Watson residuals. Right? Then click continue. Right? You don't need to worry about all other things. Right? Then just click OK. Right? Then you will get the result in here. Right? So you don't need to worry about the first one. The only concern is you need to start with model summary. You need to start with model summary. So model summary indicate that, right? Indicate that how far your independent variables representing your dependent variable changes. So in my case, so model summary give me a clue that how far my purchase intention of consumer behavior going to be changed as a result of changes in my independent variables. That means if celebrities are attractive and if celebrities are trustworthy and if celebrities are experts, and how those 3 attributes going to be changed purchase intention of the insurance customers. Now in here you need to pay your attention to the R-square value. Right? To the R-square value. Now what you can see. So R-square value indicate that 0.229. So this means the changes of the purchase intention or 23% of the changes in your purchase intention going to be represented by the changes in your independent variables. I'm repeating again. So R-square value indicate that 23% of changes in your dependent variable going to be represented by the changes in your independent variables. Okay. Normally under the standard, these R-square values this R square value, if we can say model is good, this should be greater than 0.3. That means at least 30% of variation in the dependent variable need to be represented by the changes in independent variables. But this model is not okay, but so far it is good, right? But the standard value is, or well recognized value is, the R square value need to be greater than 0.3. Okay? Then R square value indicate how much dependent variable changes represented by independent variable. Then in here significant value indicate whether your model, what is my model? 3 independent variables and 1 dependent variable, right? Whether my model is statistically significant, right? So it is represented by ANOVA table coming under your regression analysis. Now, as usual, since p-value or sig value is less than 0.5, 0.05, in here you can conclude that the model is statistically significant. What is my model? That means the influence of 3 independent variables to the dependent variable is statistically significant. Overall 3 variables including model is statistically significant. But the question is, since we have 3 independent variables, right? Since we have 3 independent variables, now our question is, which independent variables are statistically influenced to the dependent variable? Now I have 3 things now: attractiveness, trustworthiness, and expertise. But I don't know whether how much of these 3 variables going to be statistically influenced. So that answer is going to be coming up with coefficient table, right? That answer going to be coming up with coefficient table. So under the coefficient table, sig value again you can see here. Okay, under the sig value, same result, p value need to be less than 0.05. Okay, then look at what are the values less than 0.05. Only this one. That means mean trustworthiness. That means the trustworthiness is the only variable that going to be statistically or significantly influenced to the purchase intention of insurance consumers in Sri Lanka. All other sig values are higher than 0.05. Therefore, we can conclude that attractiveness of celebrity, expertise of the celebrity are not statistically significant to the purchase intention of consumers in Sri Lanka. Right? So please look at the coefficient sig value, then make sure that which variables, which independent variables are going to be statistically or significantly influenced to your dependent variable. Right? So that is a sig value. Then under the sig value, if the p value is less than 0.5, then you can go with the beta value. Beta value mean how much of the influence given by independent variable to the dependent variable. Right? Since our model has only one significant factor, significant variable, it give 24% of influence, or it give 24% of influence to your dependent variable. Right? Now you can see that beta value is somewhat similar to your R square value. Okay? Since others are not statistically significant. Right? Now this is what I call regression analysis. Okay? So that's the main part of your data analysis coming under the quantitative. Right? But sometimes student might not have scale type question like what I have in here. Right? Student might not have scale type questions. Right? Sometimes you have yes no question or like categorical question like income, income, age, something like that. Right? Or your dependent variable also might have yes no question. Right? Now, in that case, you cannot run multiple regression analysis. Right? I'm repeating again. Now, multiple regression analysis can be run only where you are taking scale type questions or ratio type questions, right? But if your variables are measuring like categorical terms like gender, age, income level, and education level, something like that, you cannot run multiple regression analysis. Okay? In that case, I am using in here. Now I have another variable in this case, right? In this case, I have another dependent variable. I want to make sure that the consumers continuation of purchasing, right? I want to make sure that whether attractiveness, trustworthiness, expertise, as well as gender, age, and income, are those factors going to be influence consumers' continuation of the purchase? Right? That means whether consumer is going to purchase it in next time also. Right? Now, if we have already insurance, whether that person is going to have another insurance, if we are using celebrity attractiveness, trustworthiness, and something like that. So, my next model is, I want to make sure that whether consumers are going to be continuation of the purchasing if we are using celebrities as well as their demographic factors, right? So this time my dependent variable is not measuring measurement scale or scale type 1, but it has only two categories, yes no question. I'm asking, are you like to purchase it again? Then they might answer yes or no, right? Now in this case, my model cannot be run with multiple regression analysis. Okay, by my dependent variable now have two categorical levels. Categorical variable coming under two levels, yes, no. Okay, so then in that case, I cannot run multiple regression analysis. Then and only, what is the condition? If your dependent variable is going to be measured based on categorical values like male and female, yes, no, something two categorical factors, right? Two categorical level, we can run binary logistic regression. Now you know what is binary, right? Binary means 1 to 0. Okay, binary logistic regression can be used to check when your dependent variable has two categorical levels. Okay, how we can do is very similar. Go to analyze. Okay, go to analyze. Now under the regression, you can see in here binary logistic. Analyze, regression, okay, binary logistic. Just click it. Now you can see the table in the binary logistic. Okay. Now in here the dependent variable, not like the Likert scale. Now we are going to use the only two level categorical variable. What is my intention to purchase? Continuation of purchase. I have only yes, no answer. Right? You might have in your model like this. Right? Then I can select my other independent variable. So I will select gender, age, income, and as usual my other three factors, right? All are you can include into the covariates, right? All are included into covariates, right? Then go to the command call option. You don't worry about these two things. Go to the command call option. Okay, in here just click. In here just click, and the statistic and plots. Hosmer and Lem's show goodness of it. Those are some statistical requirement. Okay, just click only that command under the statistic and plots, right? Then click continue. Okay, you don't worry about the other things. Just click OK, right? And now you can see the result, right? Now this is the result of logistic regression. We call binary logistic regression. right? And the binary logistic regression, you don't need to worry about the first part. Our analysis started with the block 1 method equal enter. Okay, these are the results you need to concern. Okay, don't worry about the model equals 0. Okay, block equals 0. Block 1 method equal entry. After that, you need to worry about your results. Okay, now you can see the sig value also given in here, right? The omnibus test of the model. This is also clear. Since sig value is less than 0.05, your model is statistically significant. Okay, your model is statistically significant. And the other thing is you need to know about the R square value, right? Like a regression, but we are having different names, right? First one, it will give you the ANOVA test like multiple regression, but in the model summary, you will get the R square value in here. Now, under my model, the 10.9% of variation of the continuation of purchase will be represented by my selected independent variables, right? And in here, Hosmer and Lameshort test, okay? These are some technical part, right? Don't worry about that. The Hosmer and Lameshort test and the binary logistic, in this case only, okay, in this case only, please don't getting confused. Okay, in this case only, the sig value need to be greater than 0.05. Okay, then only you can say your model is statistically significant, right? Then and only Holmes and Lameshort test, the sig value should be greater than 0.05, right? So please refer some binary logistic YouTube videos, so you will get more detail regarding what is this Holmes and Lameshort test. But its sig value need to be greater than 0.05. Okay, so that's the only condition you will get. The sig value is greater than 0.05 and it is statistically significant. All other cases, sig value should be less than 0.05. Right? And then don't worry about those tables. There are plenty of tables, but please pay your concern on the last table. Right? This is similar to the coefficient table in your regression. Right? And in here you can refer the sig value again. Okay, sig value again. Right? But fortunately or unfortunately, there is no sig value less than 0.05. Therefore, we cannot say that the continuation of the purchasing going to be influenced by those selected factors. Right? Now, since there are no things, therefore, you don't need to worry about the beta value. But if you are having some p-values less than 0.05, then you can say about beta value, whether there is a positive relationship, whether there is a negative relationship, something like that. Right? Now, this is we call binary logistic. Why we are referring binary logistic? Because our dependent variable has only two categorical levels to measure. Yes, no, or maybe some other two parts. Right? So that's the way you need to run your data analysis in quantitative form. Okay, so I cover all the parts coming under the data analysis, right? But in here I'm not covering the moderating and mediating analysis, but because the time is not enough to do all the things. But if you are having some moderating or mediating variables in your model, please let me know, then I will help you how to do it based on some simple statistical methods. Okay, so that's all I want, all I want to discuss with you regarding data analysis. I know it is little bit expedized way, but unfortunately I have only one session. This is my last session. Therefore, I need to cover all the things within given 2 hours time. Okay, so if you need anything clarification, now it is for you to speak. Yes, do you need something to clarify, or did you collect you at least pilot test data? But because I didn't get any update up to until any one of you until last session. what is your progress regarding data collection?
Madam, I'm Nimansa.
Yes, Nimansha. What happened to your questionnaire?
Questionnaire, madam, I updated the questionnaire,
Okay.
and the supervisor was okay about the questionnaire, and I sent the questionnaire to some of the people, but I didn't get around 30 responses yet for the
Okay.
pilot survey.
Okay.
But while you're doing it, I just tried some of them, but I couldn't complete it. I will rewatch the video and do it.
Okay, don't worry.
Yeah.
Because I have covered everything with the simple way I can do. But the YouTube, there are plenty of videos available how to run the SPSS with multiple regression, factor analysis and everything. But I will give you the background information. Then you can easily follow those things if you need, right?
Okay.
The thing I have done today is more than enough for you to finalize your data analysis.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Nimasha. So good luck with your data collection and everything. And I will share with you regarding the final finding chapter write-up. Last time also I gave it to the student. So then you can follow the step because it's clearly say what are the things you need to complete, right? Like sample profile, then measurement of goodness, then the correlation analysis, mean value calculation. Likewise, it's everything is there. The only the thing is that mean difference comparison was not there because it's not common to everyone because it's depend on your objective. Okay. So I believe that others are also having the same status because no one send it to me their questionnaire or whatever. So I believe that you are still in the questionnaire deciding stage. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am. In progress.
Yes. May I know your name because
Devendra speaking here, madam.
Yes, Devendra. Yes.
Will it be okay even this is your last session that we sending you mails relevant to the progress?
Yes. If you need some data analysis support assistant, so let me know. So then I will happy to help you. I can arrange some quick Zoom meeting with you regarding your data set. Then I can work with you through your data. Then you can finalize your data analysis. Don't worry.
Okay, madam. Thank you so much for
Yes. First of all, you need to finalize with your questionnaire and do the pilot analysis. And then only you can follow these steps, what I have done with you today.
Okay, madam.
Okay, so others also I believe that the same. How about the Mihran? Mihran, are you able to finalize your questionnaire?
I'm also sending those questionnaires to the people who I got the touching with, but
Okay.
they didn't send again, madam.
Okay.
So I'll try to finalize it and send all the data relevant to these fields to you, madam,
Okay.
after complete.
So anyhow, whatever, I don't know when you are going to submit your documents and everything. So it's up to you to finalize with your questionnaire designing and everything and do your data collection. So if you need any help, let me know. Just drop me a message or send me an email. Then I'm happy to help you once I get a free time.
Okay, madam. Thank you so much.
Okay. Anyone need to clarify something more than that? And how about Nalin? Nalin, are you okay with your questionnaire?
My supervisor, Dr.
Sorry?
Janaka, and accepted that thing also. So I will forward it to you also, ma'am.
That means you finalize with your questionnaire, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. So then, okay, then I believe that most of you are in the same stage, so you can work together and finalize all your work. And let's see what we can do in future according to the stages, right? So I will send it to you this video clip and sample write-up for the data analysis. And then I believe you can follow those things and finalize your research report. Okay, then So thank you very much for being with my session, 3 sessions, and I'm really happy to deliver my knowledge or disseminate my knowledge with you. I believe it helped you to get a good score to your final year project, and hope to see you all finish your project within a given time period, like last time also, because last time I think 7-8 students finalized their project at a given time. So I'm really happy about that, and I'm expecting the same commitment and same result from your 6 students. And wish you good luck with your final works. And let me know, just know your progress. If you need any help from me.
Thank you.
Okay, unfortunately, I couldn't see you in face to face even at the one session, but I believe that you will get something through this online session. And if there are something you are not clear or unclear with properly, just drop me a message, and I will send you some extra documents or extra videos, and you can follow them and then complete your work. So thank you all of you again, and wish you good luck another time once again, and good luck with your work.
Thank you so much, madam.
Okay, see you everyone. Bye.
See you. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.